Hello everyone! It's great to see you all again. I wish you all a wonderful and happy day. Today, I want to tell you a very simple story about the quiet vibrations that permeate the scent of grass and trees, the gentle morning sun, and even the dusty construction sites under the scorching sun. The story begins on a crystal clear morning when Tieu took Uyen to visit his small garden, a garden tied to his childhood, filled with peaceful memories that always soothe his heart whenever he thinks of them. The path leading to the garden was still wet with night dew. On either side stood rows of old bamboo, their leaves gently swaying in the early breeze, making familiar rustling sounds. Uyen slowed down, took a deep breath, and the smell of damp earth and young grass made her feel strangely comfortable. "It's so peaceful here, isn't it?" Uyen said softly. Tieu smiled. "When I was little, I used to come here to play, skipping my afternoon nap to pick guavas and mangoes. Growing up and working far away, I rarely came back, so I missed it a lot." As soon as they entered the garden gate, the early morning sun pierced through the leaves, falling sparklingly on the path. Near the fence, Miss Tieu, the kind neighbor, was busily weeding. Her back was slightly hunched, her hair was mostly gray, but she was still agile. Tieu greeted her politely. "Hello, Miss Tieu." Miss Tieu looked up, squinted her eyes, and exclaimed, "Oh, it's you, Tieu. My goodness, it's been so long since I've seen you. I thought you had forgotten about this garden." Tieu scratched his head and smiled. "Yes, I've been working on a project far away, so I haven't been back much. Every time I have free time, I remember the garden and you right away." Tieu looked him up and down, her voice both reproachful and affectionate. "If you're working far away, try to take care of yourself, dear. Don't work too hard and forget about yourself." Then, her gaze suddenly fell on Uyen, the girl standing next to Tieu, with a gentle demeanor and a kind face. Aunt Tieu smiled brightly. "And who is this stranger here?" Before Tieu could speak, Uyen bowed politely. "Hello, Aunt. I'm Uyen, Tieu's friend." Miss Tieu looked at the two of them, her eyes full of meaning. "What kind of friends stand so close together? You two look so good together. When will you let me eat at your wedding?" The remark made Uyen blush. She waved her hands awkwardly. "No, ma'am, we're just friends." Tieu quickly added, "No, we're not dating, ma'am." But Miss Tieu chuckled and shook her head. "I may be old, but I'm not blind. I see how this girl takes care of your garden, keeping it clean and tidy. I'm very pleased with her. I wish I had a capable daughter-in-law like her to help me." Uyen felt more and more embarrassed as she listened, lowering her gaze to her shoes. Miss Tieu turned to tease Tieu. "If you don't marry her, I'll marry her to my son, so don't regret it." Tieu smiled awkwardly, feeling inexplicably happy inside. After a few more pleasantries, the two asked Miss Tieu for permission to take a walk in the back garden. The small path leading to the fish pond was winding, lined with banana trees and a few old jackfruit trees on both sides. The space was quiet now, with only the chirping of birds overhead and the faint scent of lotus flowers wafting in the breeze. Uyen stopped by the pond, looking at the pink lotus flowers blooming on the water. She whispered, "It's really beautiful here. Just looking at it makes my heart feel lighter." Tieu stood beside her, looking at Uyen, his heart suddenly feeling warm. They continued on to the lush green vegetable patch. The vegetables were growing a little too thick, and Tieu said, "If we leave it like this, the vegetables won't be able to grow. We have to thin them out so they have room to breathe." Both of them bent down, carefully pulling out the smaller plants. And then, in a very brief moment, Tieu's hand accidentally touched Uyen's. The touch was as light as a breeze, but it made both of them pause. Uyen felt her heart flutter. "His hand is so warm. It was just a light touch, but why does it make me feel so fluttery?" Tieu was flustered, his heart pounding. "It was just a little touch, but why is my heart racing like this?" He quickly whispered, I'm sorry." Uyen said nothing, just nodded, then stood up to get some water. The atmosphere between the two suddenly became awkward, yet very gentle. Over a glass of cool water, Tieu looked at Uyen for a long time before speaking slowly. "I like the way you tend to the garden, and I like the way you talk to people. Being with you, I feel so at peace. I want to be with you even more." Uyen listened, her heart pounding. She was very happy, but still a little worried. I wonder if you really mean it? Or is it just a momentary feeling? But looking into his sincere eyes, she chose to believe him. She nodded slightly, a faint smile on her lips. Love sometimes doesn't need grand promises, but lies in the care for the smallest things. That afternoon, Uyen went to the market and carefully selected 1/2 kilogram of pork for 70,000 dong to cook fried pork and pumpkin soup, the An's favorite dishes. As she cooked, she thought, I wonder if he'll compliment me after eating. But Theon had to leave immediately after stopping by. He said urgently, I can't have dinner with you today. The construction site is removing the formwork to build the first floor, so I have to go right away. Watching his car disappear into the distance, Uyen thought sadly, he's so busy he'll probably skip a meal. So she scooped up some rice, carefully wrapped the food, and took it to the construction site for him. The hotel construction site appeared in the blazing sun, with scaffolding crisscrossing and the roar of machinery. Theon was discussing work safety with Huang, instructing the workers to wear safety harnesses when working at heights, when he saw Uyen standing in the distance. He was surprised. Why are you here? Uyen smiled. I brought you lunch. Also, I want to help you a little. The An was worried. It's really hard here. The sun is fierce. You won't be able to handle it. Uyen shook her head. If everyone else can do it, so can I. Seeing this, Mr. Hoang handed Uyen a wheelbarrow and a shovel to scoop sand. Uyen began working, each wheelbarrow heavy with sand under the scorching sun. Seeing Uyen drenched in sweat, her clothes covered in dust, the An felt deeply sorry for her. He bought her some sweet tea to drink and made her sit down to rest. Then he whispered to Mr. Hoang, This afternoon, pay Uyen 600,000 for her work. Normally it's only 400,000, but charge the extra to my account. He just wanted to compensate her with whatever he could. The afternoon dusk fell very slowly. The red sun hung like a burning ember on the horizon, casting long rays of light onto the winding small dike road. The lush green rice fields stretched endlessly, the evening breeze gently rippling the rice like waves, carrying a cool breeze that washed away all the fatigue of a hard day's labor. Uyen stood before Mr. Hoang, holding her paycheck in her hands, stunned. 600,000 dong, much more than she had expected. She thanked him profusely, and then slowly walked along the dike road. Each slow step seemed to carry 1,000 thoughts. She remembered Theon's worried eyes when he saw her working under the sun, remembered the cup of sweet tea he bought for her to drink, remembered how he stood watching from afar without saying a word, but with pity in his eyes. I wonder what he's doing right now, Uyen thought to herself, her heart suddenly feeling warm in the cool evening breeze. Suddenly, from behind, the sound of a motorcycle echoed softly. Uyen turned around and saw the An slowing down, stopping his bike beside her. He took off his helmet, looked at her and smiled, a smile as gentle as the late afternoon sun. Why didn't you wait for me walking alone like that? He asked. Uyen smiled softly. I'm walking to cool off, and also, I want to think a little. The two slowed down and sat down on the grassy embankment beside the road. Before them lay an endless field of rice, the wind blowing gently, causing the rice plants to sway as if whispering something very tender. Theon looked at Uyen, his voice softening. Your cooking is delicious. The fried meat today was perfectly salty and sweet. It warmed my heart. Working on that dusty construction site, having your lunchbox makes me feel like my whole family is right beside me. Uyen's heart melted as she listened, and she bowed her head slightly to hide her smile. The An continued, his voice half joking, half serious. I think I'll have to ask Mr. Hoang not to let you work at the construction site anymore. Seeing you pushing the sand cart under the hot sun breaks my heart. Uyen turned to look at him. You feel sorry, but you don't say anything. Theon smiled, scratching his head. I'm afraid you'll be sad, but in my heart I think, I wish I could let you only do light work. He looked out at the field, then said slowly, I promise, from now on I'll take on fewer jobs far away. I want to have time to take you back to visit the garden, water the vegetables with you, watch the lotus flowers bloom, sit and talk under the shade of the trees like that day. I don't need anything grand. Just to be near you a little bit every day is enough." Uyen listened, her eyes stinging. She didn't say much, just nodded slightly, her hand resting near his. The evening breeze blew by, carrying the sweet scent of young rice, and in that moment, their hands touched each other lightly, no longer awkward like the first time, but a very natural, peaceful touch. The story ends with an image of two young people sitting side by side in a green rice field, with the sun quietly sinking behind the mountains in the distance. Their love is not loud or ostentatious, but built from the smallest things. From a warm lunchbox in the hot sun at the construction site, from a shy touch in the corner of the garden, from worried glances and simple promises. Thank you for listening to this story. I hope that amidst the hustle and bustle of life, each of us will find someone to sit down with, listen to the wind blowing across the field of our lives, and feel a strange sense of peace.